All right. Good morning, everybody. Hey, guess what we get to do today? Okay. We get to go after our dreams. Okay. Most people right now are, going to a job, okay, hating it, probably spend a lot of, went to bed late last night, hit their snooze a million times today. They are dreading this week. Okay, because they know that every week after that, they're basically going to get about the same, okay, as they've gotten before. You've got a shot, okay, we've got a shot that to change our future forever today, tomorrow, next week, next month. Okay, I mean that's if that doesn't mean anything to you, I'm scared. Okay, I'm scared for you. Okay, so anyway, let's go through the recognition here. Wanted to shout out about Gulf Coast, Marco. Obviously, this is Elizabeth and I, one of Elizabeth and I's favorite places. That's why we bought a place down there. We love Marco, but I'm telling you, it is a resort of resorts. JW Marriott. It doesn't get any better than this. You're gonna absolutely love it. You've got to win it. I'm going for a record. I hope you are a record in your team to win this trip. So hey, let me just recognize some folks. Top five: Brandon, Maryland, future VPs, over 13,000 in premium. Carlos and Sylvia, 13.5. Catherine and Brian, 16.5. The great Daniela and Brian, 18.5. And awesome Nathaniel and Erin, okay, almost $19,000 as future VPs, heading for VP. Great job, okay? Recruiting, top five. We got Brandon, Maryland at 26, Christian at 27, Greg and Jessica. Great job, Greg and Jessica. I was going back and forth with them this weekend on text. 28 recruits this month. Daniela and Brian, 29 recruits, and the great Damaris Arias, 30 recruits. A lot of great VPs coming up through there. Top packs in June. Koob, all right, 21. Marissa and Albert, 22. Edward and Mana, 28. Carlos and Myra, 33. And Christian, Ryan, Pat, 52. New investment accounts this month. What rock stars, okay? I mean, you're going to look at these numbers. But Christian, Ryan, Pat had a brand new child, okay? They're their third, I don't know, 3 months ago, okay? And for those of you who had three, you know that the third one just, they all kind of toss you for a loop a little while. But the third one, okay, you got to switch from man-to-man defense to zone defense. And look at that, right back. I mean, just absolute rock stars. Securities top five: Elizabeth Braun, 900,000. The Brennans, a million. No, excuse me. 900,000 as well. Lousies, a million. Lisa Greer, number 11 in Primerica with 2.9 million. And the great Dave and Linda Thompson, $4 million already this month, number 6 in Primerica. Look at the premium, okay? We got things rocking at the top 4 or 5 here. The top five: Carlos and Myra, 27,000. The Pats back, okay? They're back, 33,000, number 94. Chavez is about ready to promote out. I think it's their first VP, but a VP, 35,000 in premium, number 91. Nate and Katya, number 78 with 36,000. And the great Ricky and Erica holding their number one spot, number 74 in Primerica, 37,000. Top recruits: Nate and Katya, 34. Carlos and Marlon, 37. Russell and Corinthia, 39. Great job, Russell and Corinthia. Sandoval's 53, number 70 in Primerica. And the great Ricky and Erica, number 61 with 56 recruits, okay? And the most important category, look at these numbers, okay? We've got 9 folks with 5 licenses or more. We'll finish, you know how this works, okay? Once they close out the month, there'll still be a bunch of licenses. We could have 10 folks with 6 or 7 licenses or more. Jordan with 5 licenses, number 89 in Primerica. Audrey with 6 licenses, number 61 in Primerica. Zara and Darren, number 61 in Primerica with 6. Brian and Jamie Vivarka, number 59, with 6.5 licenses. Katie and Christian with 9 licenses, number 29. Nate and Katya with 10 licenses, number 27. Carlos and Myra, number 16 with 14 licenses. Carlos and Marlon, number 8 with 19 licenses. and Ricky and Erica, 23, number 5 in all of Primerica. Great job, everybody. I'm just telling you. And by the way, if you don't like that every week when we do that, okay, I'm just going to tell you, get your name up there. You'll probably like it better. So just want to congratulate all those folks. What rock stars. Just very proud of everybody there. Hey, so just kind of wanted to talk to everybody. Well, I want to congratulate everybody. We had so far this year, we've had 21 new diamond jumps in Team Unstoppable. Okay, and I know of two more that I think are going to happen in the next 2 days. So we could be at 23 by the end of June, halfway through the year. That puts us on pace for like a 45, maybe 50 diamond jumps in 2025, which would be an all-time record. Like 12, depending on where that lands, 12 to 17 more than we had last year. Okay, that's a pretty significant jump, especially when you think of last year was a convention year. So I'm excited about these diamond dumps. Okay, and I'm excited about the people getting their ring and so on. Okay, like you said, we'll set a record, but I just want to make sure everybody understands. Okay, 100 grand's not the goal. It's a great recognition. I'm glad we do it, but that's not the goal. Okay, you can't change your life in a meaningful way at 100,000. You really can't. Okay, you've got to get to probably about 250 to start being able to sock some money away, start living where you want to live, all those kind of things. So I just want to encourage all of you, set the target for where you want to go. 250, 300, 500, SVP, whatever it might be. And of course, recognize yourself and be proud of yourself along the way as you hit mile markers toward that. Okay. So let's talk. Okay. Really want to get inside your head today. Okay. My question to you is this. Okay. Do you have a plan for this week and this weekend? Okay. I mean, you can't start. Okay. I promise you might as well take every goal, just throw it out the window. If you start July, next Monday, July 7th. Okay. And if you don't have a plan, then I would suggest you have a plan. Okay. You have a plan to fail. If you're serious about your goals, okay, whether that's becoming a VP, developing VPs, okay, you can't take a week off, okay? I mean, and I'm not saying you don't show up the office, all that. Okay, I'm talking about mentally, you can't take a week off, okay? You've got to do the exact same thing that you need to do every week to accomplish that goal. You just have less days to do it this week, okay? I mean, you can't lose a week. You add a month to your goals, okay? So if you want to be a VP, okay, you add a month to when you're going to become a VP by basically taking off a week. And that's just, don't get mad at me. That's just kind of how the business works, okay? It's like in sports and everything else, okay? You can't like relax, one quarter and expect to win the majority of your games, okay? It's just not going to happen. So I want you to spend time with your loved ones, okay? I mean, that's the magic of holidays, clear your brain a little bit, all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't take 3 days to do that. Okay, can you imagine a sports team, maybe in the middle of their season, they're fighting for, championship, it would be to get into the standing for championship and so on, and the team saying, oh, it's a holiday, I guess we'll take 3 days off. Okay, that team is not going to win any championships. Okay, that's just the way life is. Okay, you got to be careful that you don't adopt or emulate an employee mindset, okay? Employees aren't building anything, okay? They're clocking in, clocking out, getting a paycheck, okay? Doing their duty, okay? It's like taking out the trash, okay? They do it every week because that's what they get paid to do. You're not, so if you're going to accomplish what you want to accomplish, okay, in Primerica, there's a time period that you're going to miss a lot of fun stuff. Okay, get over it. Okay, you could. By the way, when you achieve your dreams and your goals and so on, okay, and you look back at that stuff, okay, those fun times, whatever you missed, okay, I promise you, you will not look at that as, oh my goodness, I missed some fun stuff. In fact, most people could add up all their fun stuff and it's not changing their life one bit right now. Okay. So you're going to have to miss some stuff. Okay. If you want to build something. Okay. You're not underperforming because you lack talent. You're underperforming because you're not putting in the work. Okay. The work that it takes, the work that actually matters. Being busy is not being productive. Okay. There's lots of stuff you can do in Primerica to be busy. But that doesn't mean you're moving closer to your goal. So here's what I want you to evaluate. Okay. I want you to evaluate your decisions. Are you trying to find a way to do more so you can succeed faster? Or are you looking for ways you can do less, okay, and quote, still get the job done? Okay. Are you conning yourself into believing that doing less, okay, being more efficient, okay, all that, BS out there, okay, is going to equal like you working harder? Okay, if you're working less, okay, and more importantly, working less on the things that are most important, then you're going to have less. Okay, I don't care if it's efficient. Somebody said it was great, blah, blah, blah. Okay, many years ago, to give you an example, the only way you recruited people was you brought them to a corporate overview, or sometimes it was called an op meeting. And so at Team Unstoppable, the rest of the country did those twice a year, or excuse me, twice a week when they did their training. Okay. At Team Unstoppable, we said, well, we want to amp up recruiting. Okay. We want to grow like crazy, so we're going to do a basic corporate overview every day with the exception of Sunday. Okay. But we said that. But we didn't do one on Fridays, obviously because we wanted to goof off. Okay, and that was going well and so on. But I wanted to be successful. I wanted to get it over with. I wanted to get to my dreams. So we implemented a Friday corporate overview. Okay, at 5 p.m. Okay, now the reason we did that is multiple reasons. Okay, obviously we wanted to get more recruiting, want to get things going in one more day, our little edge so we can get to our success faster. Okay, but the primary reasons is that if there was an overview at Friday at 5 o'clock, then guess how late I'm staying. Okay. I'm staying till at least 6 because that's when the overview ends and you got to schedule the people. How long are our full timers staying? Okay. Till the end. Okay. Because they got guests there and so on. Okay. What it did is what it said, okay, it took an afternoon Friday that maybe some people goof off and we doubled down. I mean, no one just hung around the office. They worked while they're there. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Are you looking for things to put in more time? Okay, to get there faster? Are you looking for things to quote, sell yourself on? Oh, I'll get there. This will just be easier. This will be more efficient or, BS like that. Whose advice are you listening to? Whose advice are you taking in? Unfortunately, most people take in advice that is pleasant, okay, which means it's something that they think they can do less or it can work better in their schedule, whatever, and still get the same results. Ask yourself when you get an advice, okay, does it sound like more work? If it does, okay, look toward that. Okay. If it sounds like less hours disguised as efficient, okay, run from that. Okay. Be scared of that. Get away from that. That advice, does it get you more directs? Okay. Does it get your team more direct or more recruits? Okay. Not IBAs, recruits. Okay. Does it get you more names? Does it, or is it more palatable? Are you looking for delegation? Okay, so you can prospect more, or are you looking for delegation so you can do less? At the end of the day, you're getting the results of your efforts. If you don't like the results, okay, then you got to look at your efforts, okay? If you don't like the results, okay, you know, I heard somewhere, I can't remember, it said, you don't deserve results that you didn't earn. You don't deserve results that you didn't earn. Results aren't unfair, okay? They're just honest. They don't have emotions attached to it, okay? You just get the results from what you put in, okay? See, the difference in winning and losing, I will tell our founder used to say the difference in winning and losing is this much. He used to go on and say it's almost too small to, it's too scary to talk about. It's the little things, okay? Discipline of schedule, okay? Managing your highs and lows, okay? Did you have a great week or a terrible week, okay? Did you get a bunch of no's or yeses, okay? It doesn't matter, okay? It matters, but it doesn't matter. Okay, it's not, you can't ride those roller coasters. Oh, I suck. Oh, I'm awesome. Oh, I suck. Oh, I'm awesome. Okay, you just got to put in the time. You got to do it daily. Okay, a work ethic. It's like, maybe school or something. I don't know, where you weren't getting a test every day, but you had to put the work in every day, if you were going to get the results that you were looking for, okay? All you remember you won't remember those highs and those. People ask me all the time, they want me to go through, all the challenges, all the disappointment. There's a few that spring up, okay? But I wasn't focusing on those, okay? I was getting through those. 5 years from now, I promise you, you won't remember, okay? Okay. All you'll remember is, are you living your dreams or are you still broke? If your business hasn't gone anywhere, basically in the last few years, it's from one reason and one reason only, okay? You're not focusing on the most important things. You're not doubling down in your work ethic. You're not making it happen. Are you giving in to comfort? How many breaks do you want every week? Okay, how many breaks do you take every week? Yeah, I'm talking about like breaks in entertainment form. Okay, you take a break and watch a movie. You take a break and do whatever. Okay, that's not how winning's done. Okay, I mean, obviously, take a break, spend time, with your family and God and so on. There's enough time, okay, to win in Primerica. Spend with time with your God, time with your family, and Primerica. But there's not enough time for anything else. Not for the rest of your life, but for a period of time. We're talking about 40, 50 years of working for a job, okay, and not having anything, okay? Well, if Primerica is going to give you better than that, okay, it just stands to reason you've got to be more compact. You got to put in more time, okay, a shorter period of time, but during that short period of time, you got to put in more time. Elizabeth and I we're trying to get things going many years ago when we first got married, okay? And we didn't want any distractions, okay? We wanted to be free. So we had our cable turned off. For those of you that are young, that'd be like all your apps. Okay, you got turned off. Okay, you can't. The cable back then was where you got sports, where you got movies, where you got TV, where you got all forms of media. That's where you got it from. And we didn't want to get distracted. Okay, it's like when I wanted to give up chocolate, I got rid of all chocolate in my house. When I wanted to get rid of processed food, I got rid of all processed food in our house. Okay, I don't want to be tempted, so we cut our cable. Okay, or not, we didn't cut it. Okay, we turned it off. Now a couple of years later, we were doing pretty well. Okay. In fact, 8 years later, we went over $1 million. 9 years later. Okay. Do you think, 9 years later, we were saying, oh yeah, but that price of turning off cable for 2 weeks, or excuse me, 2 years was just too great of a price to be making $1 million a year. And this was $1 million a year in 2000. Okay, 25 years ago. That's like $2 million today. Okay. You've got, okay, please, it's your decision. I can't tell you how to do anything, okay? But it's your decision, but you've got to live with the consequences of your decision. Okay, tell me how any entertainment over the last year has made your life, is making your life now joyful and happy and adding to your success and so on. You've got to make a decision. There's got to be a choice. There's got to be a sacrifice. Why are you taking breaks? Okay, what do you need a break for? Okay, that's so how broke people think. Yeah, 24 hours in a day, we all got it, right? Okay, 8 hours for sleep, maybe 4 hours of time, with your family, exercising, whatever. Okay, that's 10 hours a day you can put in Primerica, at least 50 hours a week. I'm going to challenge you. You got to do 3 hours a day of prospecting, at least 2 hours a day of being on KTs. Okay. I mean, I didn't mention your Sabbath. That's 24 hours of just like goofing off. Okay. I mean, if you're not doing a total of 15 hours a week in prospecting for recruits, okay, 5 interviews a week, okay, 10 scheduled KTs a week, I don't know how you succeed here. Feels like a disciplined schedule. If you're having a challenge, okay, it's a disciplined schedule challenge. It's not a tired challenge, okay? Your body told your brain you were tired, okay? And your brain said, oh, okay, I must be tired, okay? You're not tired. Okay, you're just listening to your body tell you you're tired. Okay, teach your brain to control your body instead of the other way around. Almost everything you need to do to succeed comes from you changing. Okay, changing your habits, changing your thought process, changing your focus, changing your energy, changing your goals. Okay, changing what you're willing to accept. I'm gonna move. I'm getting too wound up. Okay. So let me just wrap up here. We're celebrating, obviously, our country being the U.S. Independence this week, and I think Canada as well. But don't hold me to that. I apologize, Canada. I should have looked that up. Okay. And our country certainly isn't perfect. Okay. Because it's made up of humans, okay? Any entity out there that's made up of humans isn't going to be perfect, okay? My family is not perfect, okay? So I don't expect more from some artificial or some other individual than myself or my family, okay? When our country was founded, okay, most of the world lived in destitute poverty, zero freedom to change their lot in life, like zero. Okay, but in today's day and age, grow up in the U.S., you don't even have a clue. Okay, they didn't get to choose their lot in life. They couldn't change their lot in life. If you were born to a poor farmer, your kids would be poor farmers. Okay, you'd never own land. You'd never anything. Okay, if you were born to this, that, or other, you didn't get to change your lot in life. Okay, you didn't get to change. You didn't get to choose your rulers. Okay, you didn't have liberty. You couldn't create a better life for your family. 95% of the world couldn't create a better life for their family. And single-handedly, by our example, okay, but not my example, by this country's example, by the founders of our country, okay, we changed the world. Now, there's still a truckload of places in the world, okay, you don't get to determine any of that stuff. But there's a truckload you can. We changed the form of government. We changed free enterprise. We did all that stuff single-handedly. So what those people that made this decision to lead, okay, this endeavor, Okay, never been done before in the history of mankind. These 56 individuals signed a Declaration of Independence. Okay, now they weren't just saying, "Hey, it'd be nice to have our own country." Okay, they were British subjects. They were telling the British government, "Up yours." Okay, we're no longer going to be. We're taking this country away from you. Okay, so what would happen to these folks? Five of those signers were captured to sign the Declaration, 50 of the 56 were captured by the British as traitors and tortured and died being tortured. Okay, 12 had their homes ransacked and burned. Another 9 of the 56 fought and died from wounds in battle. They signed and pledged their life, their fortune, and their sacred honor. Now, who were these individuals? Were these just rebel rousers that basically didn't have a shot at anything else? So what the heck? Might as well, try to do something. Okay, no, these were folks that are successful in the other environment. They were successful under the British. Okay, they had means. 24 of them were lawyers, okay? 11 were merchants, 9 were farmers of huge farms, okay? Men and women of means, okay? Well educated. They signed the Declaration of Independence knowing full well that the penalty would be death if they captured. Now, why would anybody do that? I mean, that's crazy. Sign something, okay, that you could get killed for just by finding out that you signed it. Carter Braxton of Virginia, a wealthy planter and trader, saw his ship swept from the sea by the British Navy. He sold his house and property to pay for his debts, and he died in ruins. Okay, Thomas McCurran was so hounded by the British, he was forced to move his family almost constantly. He served in Congress without pay. Okay, his possessions were taken from him. Poverty was his reward. Wealth to poverty to create something for future generations, okay? Vandals or soldiers looted the property of Ellery, Clymer, Hall, Walton, Gwinnett, Hayward, Rutledge, Middleton. Hey, okay, they didn't do this for themselves, they did it for others, for future generations. Yeah, I'm sure they had their problems, I'm sure they weren't perfect, okay? But who does that kind of stuff? At the Battle of Yorktown, Thomas Nelson Jr. noted that the British General Cornwallis had taken over his home and his headquarters. Nelson quietly urged General George Washington to bomb his house. His home was destroyed and Nelson died bankrupt. Franklin Lewis had his home and property destroyed. His enemies jailed his wife and she died within a few months. Their 13 children had to flee for their life, okay? He never saw them again and he died in poverty. Norris and Livingston suffered similar fates. These folks, soft-spoken men and women of means, okay, and education, they had security, but they valued liberty more. They did so their children and children and children, okay, children's children would be free to be able to control their life, control their destiny. My question is, okay, number one, take a moment, okay, and just appreciate what you have. Okay, well, being part of this country, I know we're not perfect. We make lots of mistakes, and we can talk. It's easy to point out what people do in hindsight, okay, or did in hindsight, okay, that wasn't right or whatever, okay. But when you're in the battle, okay, you don't get that luxury. We've been so blessed, okay, all of us, okay, to be in a position where we completely change our lives and hundreds of lives, okay, around us that we get to interact with, that we get to pour into, okay, maybe for generations. These moments come around rarely, like almost never. Let's do something, okay, not just for today, okay, make a little money. Okay, let's do something that changes the lives of the people we care about most for generations. Okay, let's not give in to today's comfort. we have a key that can unlock freedom for so many people. Don't bury that key. Okay. Don't hide that key. Okay. Use it over and over and over again. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.